Well, hello Julia.
Hello.
And thanks for being here with me.
A pleasure.
Just in general, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm originally from New York. I grew up on Long Island, which is sort of the little peninsula that hangs off of New York City. I grew up there with my two older siblings and my parents, and then when I left high school, I moved to Indiana to start uni in the States, because I was like, I really want a traditional American university experience. So I went to a very big university there. And then it actually really wasn't the place for me, so I decided to study abroad in Australia. And I went over there thinking it was just going to be one semester, and then one turned into two. And then I always knew that I wanted to be a vet, so I applied to study over there to get into vet straight away.
Yeah.
It's a bit different over there. You can go straight in, kind of like it is here, but in the States you normally have to do a bachelor before you do vet as a postgrad. So I thought, well, if I can get in over here, I'm really happy here. And yeah, I got into uni in Perth, moved to Perth, not knowing anyone, lived there for about 8 years, and then moved to the UK 2 years ago with my now fiance.
And because you said you always knew you wanted to be a vet, so how did that come about?
I get this question a lot.
I mean, I once upon a time wanted to be a vet as a child, and then I realized I had to cut open animals, and I was like, nope, that's not for me. Fair
enough. So there's really no one particular thing that really made me want to be a vet. I kind of attribute it to when I was really little. My parents took me to this petting farm in Vermont, and as we arrived, there was a cow giving birth, and the guy who was running it came up to us and was like, "There's a cow giving birth. Do you want to go and see?" And I was like, "Yeah, definitely." And we went and watched it, and I was like, that was the coolest thing ever. And my parents were like, "Oh, I don't know if I wanted to see that." And so maybe that was the moment when I knew that I wanted to be a vet. And it was just sort of a thing of, as I got older, as you say, a lot of people are like, I want to be a vet and save animals. But then it started becoming more of a serious thing. And I think what I like about it now is that it really combines caring for animals and humans, actually. And every case is a bit of a mystery because your patients can't talk to you. And yeah, it's just very interesting.
What about being a vet do you particularly enjoy, and what do you find really challenging still?
I think one of the biggest challenges of being a vet is that it's often really long hours, quite exhausting days. I do a lot of emergency work, so when I work, I'm normally doing nights only, and they're long 14-hour shifts, sometimes several days in a row, so it can be quite taxing in that regard. But vets actually have one of the highest suicide rates amongst a lot of professions, so the mental load can definitely be a massive part of or a massive challenge of being a vet. You're often dealing with people at their most stressed, animals at their sickest. So we talk about the term compassion fatigue a lot. So the emotional sort of mental drain that kind of comes with being a vet can be quite heavy, and I've definitely felt it at times throughout my career and have had to take some time away to recuperate mentally myself. So yeah, finding ways that you can make sure that you're taking care of yourself as well as taking care of your team and your patients is definitely a really big challenge of being a vet.
Yeah, and so what do you do for yourself, to deal with that mental load, or even to find kind of, like a balance with your personal life as well?
It's definitely not easy, and it's taken me quite a few years to learn how to balance it. Certainly when I first started being a vet, I was working really long hours, and my now fiance was like, I barely see you. And I feel like I'm in a relationship with a ghost because I was at work or working at night at times when, you traditionally spend cooking dinner together or sitting on the couch watching TV, all those sorts of things. So finding a workplace and a work sort of schedule that allows me more time to spend with him, to spend with my friends socializing, which I find is a big part of my life and something that's really, really important to me. One thing I try and do is get outside every day and walk my dog Bonnie. When I am just out and about with her, taking in some sun. It sounds so cliche, but actually just having some vitamin D and some fresh air is actually a nice way to reset yourself. I'm also very into the gym. I actually compete in CrossFit.
Okay, nice.
So that takes up a lot of my time, but it's definitely my medicine. My siblings are so funny. If I'm visiting one of them or they're here in London and I haven't been to the gym in a couple of days, they're always like, think you should go to the gym, and I think you'll feel better after. So that's definitely exercise. And, it's definitely a really big component of how I try and stay.
Julia's getting unstable.
Yeah. Oh no, literally, it's really bad. And yeah, as I said, just trying to do things like coping mechanisms at work as well. You know, I've been seeing a therapist for a long time, which really helps with managing my emotions through really stressful times. So doing breath work and just sort of knowing when it's time to take a step back and work a bit less or do something a little different. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about childhood in New York.
Yeah, so I grew up, as I said, in Long Island. So I grew up in quite a well-to-do area. I probably had a very, I guess, traditional childhood for a while. My grandparents lived in New York, so we used to go into the city and visit them quite a lot. And I used to go to Broadway shows with my grandma, and my grandpa would take me to the park and feed the ducks, and it was all very, very nice. So it was really nice kind of having the suburban life, you know, a house with a backyard where you can play with your friends. I used to ride my bike down to the local park and play, but then also having the close proximity to New York City, which I probably didn't take as much advantage of when I was younger. And now that I've moved away, I feel like I want to go back more just to take advantage of the amazing things that New York City has to offer. Yeah, for the most of my childhood, you know, it was, I guess, what you would consider a very traditional American upbringing, you know, super involved in school sports. I was a competitive athlete growing up. I played volleyball very competitively. So it was, you know, go to school, have training, and then I used to play school sports after school, and then I would go to volleyball training after that. So it was pretty intense. And then in high school, my parents split up, so that was a bit of a different kind of shift from that, you know, traditional happy family kind of thing, which was really difficult, but I definitely feel like it's shaped me to be the independent person that I am today, and it definitely made me grow up quite quick. Yeah, that's probably how I would encapsulate my childhood.
I'm curious because you've now moved to do 2 different countries. What were the challenges, also Australia compared to maybe the UK?
Yeah, it was interesting. So when I first moved to Australia, I was at a university studying abroad. So I was already kind of put in this environment where there was lots of people I could speak to, had things in common with, and it was very easy to make friends. When I moved to Perth, I didn't know anyone. And I because I'd always wanted to be a vet, I was like, this is my opportunity. You know, getting into vet school is really competitive. I've gotten into this university. Yes, it's on the other side of the country where I don't know anyone, but, you know, let's just take the bull by the horns and go for it. So I would say the first year that I lived in Perth was definitely quite lonely. I tried to find different avenues of making friends. So I joined a local volleyball league, which was good, but vet school is very time consuming. You have to spend a lot of time, not just at uni, but also studying. And I definitely felt that kind of got in the way of me being able to form social connections with people outside of the vet cohort. But once I got into second year and the cohort kind of it grew a little bit, and people were like, okay, we're in it now. So, you know, I started to make more friends, and I don't know, it's one of those things. People ask me all the time, how did you move to, you know, a new country, not knowing anyone? And you just kind of, you just do it.
You just do it,
You know, there's definitely tough aspects of it. You know, not even just, you know, the social connection side of things, but logistically, you know, getting a bank account and, you know, renting a flat and all that kind of stuff. It's all the things that you don't necessarily think about when you think, I'm going to move across the world. What I say to people who are thinking of moving abroad is that it will always take you time to settle into a new place, 6 months, a year. Even moving to the UK was definitely a lot more seamless, I think, than moving by myself to Australia. But like for, you know, and Ollie and I moved here together, but the first 6 to 12 months was really tough for a lot of different reasons. You know, you're getting settled, you're in new systems. Obviously, I had started a new job. He had gone back to uni to study something very, you know, intensive. Yeah, so I'd say those I guess were some of the biggest challenges.
Tell me about something that you're really proud of. That could be professionally, personally, or both.
Yeah. Well, I actually started my own business
Oh, nice.
about a year ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I now do pet travel certificates. So I go to people's houses and help them with the documentation that you need to travel. So whether you're taking your dog on a holiday to France or you're relocating somewhere, I do a lot of exports to China and Dubai. And what had started as just a side hustle has now actually become a thriving business. So it's been a little bit over a year. I've had over 160 animals that I've helped move or travel or everything like that. And gosh, I have such an appreciation for small business owners now, because starting your own business is super tough. And I guess, yeah, when I look back on the last year and how much I've done and the struggles that I've gone through trying to make it happen, I am really proud of myself that I've made it into something successful. And I'm just really happy that I get to help people, because sort of, as I said before, one of the reasons I love being a vet is helping people. So, you know, when I see people who are really stressed trying to get their stuff together, I mean, I've literally been in people's homes as they're packing their last bag, you know, and I'm like, I'll take care of the paperwork, you go and do that, I'll sort this all out, I'll have a look at Fluffy and do whatever treatments Fluffy needs and stuff. And they're just like, thank you so much for coming to my house and making this so much easier. So I do get a lot of satisfaction out of that as well.
Do you sometimes miss, you know, going back to the whole emergency care?
Definitely, definitely, I miss it. My two best friends who I've just been on holiday with in Italy from Perth work in emergency.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, when I hear them talking about things, or I went to the emergency, like the yearly European Emergency Vet Conference in June, and just being around all those really smart people doing really, really cool things, and I'm like, oh, I do miss it. But it's so hard to balance passion with real life and mental stability.
Yes.
So I think when I move back to Australia, I'll probably try and go back to a job like that, where I feel like I can then get a bit more of that balance back, because I do love it. And when I do a clinical shift and I do something good, or I help a client or a patient, it's such a good feeling.
I can imagine. Because you mentioned you're thinking about moving back. What's next for you personally and professionally, you know, in next year? What are you hoping for? What are some bucket list goals?
I definitely want to travel a bit more. Ollie and I are thinking about moving back maybe in another 18 months.
Okay.
So I just want to do as much travel as possible before then.
Top of the list?
A couple more countries in Europe, and we're hoping to do our honeymoon in Africa somewhere, either South Africa. Well, probably go to South Africa. We haven't really decided what other countries we want to visit, but
and also that means you're getting married soon?
Yes, I'm getting married next year in April in Sydney, so it's very exciting.
Sydney, lovely.
Yeah. So that's definitely a big thing for the next 12 months, and then I don't know. I guess professionally, I think I'm still seeking that balance. Like when I move back to Australia, I think it's going to be a thing of whether I start a very similar business to what I'm doing here over there, and then, you know, working part-time as a vet, or whether I find other passions. There's a lot of options out there. What exactly those are going to be for me, I don't really know yet, but I definitely feel like my priorities for my career have definitely changed. I think when I first graduated, I was just very career driven and, you know, wanted to be amazing and be a specialist in emergency medicine and do all this stuff. But I think what I realized is that sometimes that comes at the expense of your personal life. And I think a bit more about my personal life and having more balance. And Ollie and I are thinking of starting a family soon. So, you know, being a mom that's very present is something that's really, really important to me. So yeah, whatever that looks like in a way that I can sort of, you can't always have it all, but have a little bit of everything is sort of what I'm after.
Oh, that's really lovely.
Thanks.
I think that's the right way to go.
Yeah, I hope so.
I'd love to kind of know, what do you think people should do more or less of?
I think people should prioritize doing things that make them happy and filling their life with people that contribute positively to them. And I'm definitely a victim of this, because I'm such a people pleaser and I always worry about what people think about me. Like for my friends, I would go to the ends of the earth for my friends. But I would say, I think I spend a bit too much time caring what other people think about me, and spending my time doing things that don't necessarily make me happy, or, you know, contribute to my cup, like filling my cup, I guess. And I think work-wise, I think that really plays into that. And obviously it's really dependent on what your personal and financial situation is. But like my career is, I think, like the prime example of this. I was doing something that, as much as I loved it, burnt me into the ground and made me really unhappy and depressed. And now I'm really trying to focus more on doing the kind of work that allows me to live a happier life, to enables me to do the things that I want to do, like go to the gym, like spend time with my fiance, spend time with my friends, travel, see my family. Yeah, I think we as humans just need to, if possible, try and prioritize mental health over, you know, career success or being millionaires. Because, yeah, I think that my mindset has very much changed on that. Especially growing up in the States. I think growing up in New York, in a well-to-do area with super privileged, smart people, the mentality is, you know, grow up, go to uni, get an amazing job, make lots of money, success, career. And it's taken a really long time for me to beat that mentality. And it's not that I don't care about my career, because I absolutely do, and I love what I do, and I'm passionate about it. But I want a career that's sustainable for me long term, and it's not about making money or being, you know, at the top. It's about doing a good job, being happy with what I'm doing, still being a great vet, but you know, making what I need to survive, maybe a little extra for some nice things on top, and then that's all I need, I think, to make me happy.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. This is to round the conversation up. This is what I ask everyone. If you could dedicate this bench to anyone, who would that be?
Ooh, I think I would dedicate this bench to my dad. Oh, I don't know why I'm getting emotional. He's still with us, like he's still alive. But I think that he, I don't know, he just did a lot to support me growing up and definitely pushed me in a lot of really good directions. And it's really hard living far away from him, even though I'm really happy living where I'm living. But he's just a really special person to me and a really good role model. So yeah. I don't know why I just got really emotional.
That's okay. That's totally okay.
Didn't expect
We'll show
that.
that to your dad, and he'll be really happy about it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, you know, final question for you. If you could take this bench anywhere right now, where would you go?
Ooh, where would I go? I have so many places I want to go. Probably somewhere in the Mediterranean on the beach.
Yeah.
Listening to the waves. Waves are very cathartic for me. So, yeah.
The water.
That's where I would go.
Water.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you so much for being here, taking the time.
Thank you for having me. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I got so emotional then. It came out of nowhere. Oh.